Welcome to my channel Coach IQ. Today we do nationalism in India and the topic is limits of the civil disobedience movement. The CDM had started, but all the groups were not so enthralled or fascinated by this idea of Swaraj. They didn't really participate in the CDM. And we speak about two such groups, that is the Dalits and the Muslims. Now the Dalits, or earlier they were called the untouchables, the Congress for a very long time did not really bother or look into the problems of the Dalits. Why? Because they did not want to offend the Sanatanis. Who are the Sanatanis? They are the conservative, upper caste Hindus. Now the word conservative holds a lot of weightage because there were many high caste Hindus who did not believe in the caste system. So this was the conservative upper caste Hindus. Now Gandhiji always said that India would truly not be free even for another 100 years till untouchability was removed from our society. And Gandhiji did a lot of things in this matter. Like he called the untouchables as Harijans, that is children of God. He organized satyagrahas so that they can enter the temples, they can have access to public roads, public wells, public tanks, rivers. And he himself cleaned the toilets, so that the work of the sweeper was given dignity. He appealed to the upper caste Hindus to change their hearts, change their mindset, and to give up this sin of untouchability. But the Dalit leaders did not exactly agree with what Gandhiji said. They wanted a political solution to their problem. What Gandhiji was doing was all social solutions, like what society should do. The leaders wanted a political solution to their problems. They felt if politically something was done, if they were empowered politically, it would solve their problems in society. So what did the Dalit leaders do? First, they organized themselves. Second, they asked for reserved seats in educational institutions. Third, they asked for a separate electorate, which would elect their Dalit members for the legislative councils. They felt only politically, if they were empowered, their problems will be solved. So, the Dalit participation in CDM was not really strong, especially in Maharashtra and Nagpur. Now, Dr. Ambedkar, who was a leader of the Dalits, he organized the Dalits into the Depressed Classes Association in 1930. Now, Gandhiji went for the second round table conference. Dr. Ambedkar also went. And there, Dr. Ambedkar and Gandhiji had a clash. Why? Because Dr. Ambedkar asked for reserved seats. A separate electorate for the Dalits. And the British agreed to this because for the British it was divide and rule. So they immediately agreed for this separate electorates. Gandhiji was totally against this, for he felt giving separate electorates to the Dalits would slow down their process of integration into society. As it is, they are not accepted as a part of society. They are not allowed to use certain temples, they cannot go into certain temples, cannot use certain water from certain wells or certain roads they cannot walk on. And he felt politically also, if you give them separate electorates, then their process of coming into society would become slow. So Gandhiji started a fast unto death, and Dr. Ambedkar in the end had to agree with Gandhiji's view, and the Pune Pact was signed in September 1932. The Pune Pact said what? The Pune Pact said that reserved seats would be given to the Dalits in the provincial and the central legislative councils, but the voting would be done by the general electorate. That is, all the Indians would vote. There would be no demarcation in that. Now we talk about the Muslims. Some Muslim political organizations also were not very enthusiastic about joining the CDM, and many Muslim groups felt quite left out, alienated from the Congress after the non-cooperation Khilafat movement was called off. Mid-1920s, the Congress was becoming very openly associated with Hindu religious nationalist groups like the Hindu Mahasabha. Thirdly, the relations between both the communities was becoming worse, and each group, each community tried to celebrate their religious festivals with a lot of militant fervor, that is, with a lot of aggression. And due to this, there were lots of communal clashes and riots, and the relations between the two communities became worse. Now, 1927, the Congress and the Muslim League tried to renegotiate an alliance, and it was felt this could happen. The point where there was a difference was regarding the representation in the future assemblies that were to be elected. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, one of the leaders of the Muslim League, he said that the Muslim League was ready to give up the demand for separate electorates. But there was a condition. The first condition was Muslims had to be given a guarantee. There should be an assurance that Muslims would get reserved seats in the Central Legislative Assembly. So, in the Central Legislative Assembly, it is reserved seats. And representation in proportion to the population in the provinces dominated by the Muslims. So, in provinces, it is representation on the basis of their proportion in the population. And in the center, it is your reserved seats. Now it was felt this could happen, negotiations were going on, but all hopes of a compromise, all hopes of an alliance were shattered when M.R. Jaikar of the Hindu Mahasabha absolutely opposed any efforts at a compromise. So when the CBM started, the relations between the Hindus and Muslims was not so good. Each one of them did not trust the other. There was a lot of suspicion regarding both the groups. And now many leaders, Muslim leaders, the Muslim intellectuals, they started expressing their concern, their worry that what would be the status of the Muslims as a minority in India. They also felt that the culture, the identity of the Muslims would be suppressed in a country where the majority were the Hindus. So you see in this video that the Muslims and the Dalits did not really participate in the CDM. I really hope this topic has become clearer, and if you have any queries, please post them in the comments below. And do like the video, share it with your friends and classmates, and subscribe to my channel to continue studying with Coach IQ.